In a recent development that has sparked intense debate and diplomatic maneuvering, former U.S. President Donald Trump issued a stark warning to NATO allies, signaling his frustration over their lack of support for his military stance against Iran. In a post on his social media platform, Trump sharply criticized international partners and domestic stakeholders for not aligning with his view, suggesting a potential recalibration of U.S. troop deployments in countries that are not on board with his approach. The post was a part of Trump's continuing efforts to push NATO allies to take a more proactive role in securing critical global trade routes, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, a vital corridor that transports approximately 20% of the world's oil supply. This area has been a flashpoint of tension since hostilities involving the U.S., Israel, and Iran erupted earlier this year. Trump's stance underscores his desire for NATO countries to play an active role in ensuring the security of this strategic waterway amid ongoing geopolitical frictions. As part of these efforts, a coalition spearheaded by the United Kingdom comprising over 40 nations has tentatively agreed to assist in securing maritime traffic once conditions stabilize. On the diplomatic front, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni articulated her government's position, expressing support for the coalition aimed at securing the Strait of Hormuz. Meloni addressed the Italian parliament, responding to critiques about Italy's alignment with the United States, emphasizing that Italy's stance mirrors that of other major European nations. She said the Italian position in the Iranian crisis was exactly the same as that of the main European countries, questioning whether calls for European unity truly represent a cohesive European stance or merely the European left's perspective, which could potentially fragment the continent's unity. Meloni also highlighted a recent diplomatic breakthrough, a temporary mutual agreed ceasefire between the United States and Iran, facilitated by Pakistan's President Shehbaz Sharif. With support from regional actors, this truce, though fragile, offers a glimmer of hope for peace in a region fraught with tension. She expressed optimism that forthcoming peace talks in Islamabad could reinforce key aspects of the agreement, reflecting priorities Italy and its European partners have advocated for since the onset of the conflict. However, Meloni also warned about the severe repercussions of any violations of the ceasefire, urging for a permanent cessation of hostilities and the restoration of freedom of movement in the Strait of Hormuz. She raised concerns about potential economic consequences if Iran were to impose additional duties on transit through the strait, which could disrupt global trade and impact the energy market. In her address, Meloni touched on the broader geopolitical context, noting the shifting focus of the United States from Europe towards the Indo-Pacific region, driven by global competition with China. She remarked that this pivot had been anticipated by successive U.S. administrations and emphasized the need for Europe to adapt strategically to these changing dynamics. Meloni advocated for a Europe that is more competitive, pragmatic, and less reliant on bureaucratic structures and ideological dogmas. She emphasized the importance of European strategic autonomy, particularly in defense capabilities, to reduce dependency on the United States. We must adapt our strategy to a world that is changing at lightning speed, she noted, urging European nations to prioritize realistic goals over bureaucratic entanglements. At the core of her message was a call for unity between Europe and the United States, which Meloni described as two fundamental pillars of the West. She stressed the necessity of maintaining this transatlantic bond to ensure global relevance and strength. We are stubbornly Westerners because only if the West is united can it truly be a force capable of asserting its own voice on the global stage, she said, reinforcing her commitment to transatlantic unity despite the evolving global landscape. In this complex geopolitical scenario, Italy has also been advocating for restraint and diplomacy in the Middle East, particularly with regard to Israel and Lebanon. Meloni reiterated Italy's support for Lebanon's territorial sovereignty and called on Israel to de-escalate military actions to ensure the safety of UN peacekeeping personnel in the region. The unfolding situation underscores the intricate balance of power and diplomacy at play in the Middle East, as well as the broader implications for international alliances and global trade. As peace talks loom on the horizon, the international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that stabilizes the region and secures vital trade routes. Yet the path to peace remains fraught with challenges, underscoring the critical need for diplomatic finesse and strategic collaboration among global powers. In recent developments, the geopolitical landscape has been marked by heightened tensions and diplomatic maneuvering centered around the actions and statements of key global leaders. The United States, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, has been vocal in its discontent with NATO allies, urging them to adopt a more assertive stance on military issues, particularly concerning Iran. This call for action comes amidst escalating tensions in the Middle East, with the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial maritime corridor accounting for roughly 20% of global oil transit, at the epicenter of these geopolitical frictions. President Trump, utilizing his platform on Truth Social, expressed his dissatisfaction with both international allies and domestic stakeholders for their perceived reluctance to align with his strategic military deployments in NA. He hinted at the possibility of recalibrating U.S. military deployments in NA. TO member states that diverge from his approach. This suggestion underscores a potential shift in U.S. military strategy, emphasizing a more selective engagement with nations that actively support American geopolitical objectives, the U.S. Administration's focus on the Strait of Hormuz is part of a broader effort to secure critical global trade routes. In recent months, the strategic waterway has been a flashpoint, with hostilities involving U.S., Israel, and Iran becoming more pronounced. The American administration has consistently advocated for NATO allies to assume a proactive role in safeguarding this vital maritime passage, which remains crucial for global energy security. In response to these developments, a coalition led by the United Kingdom, comprising over 40 nations, has expressed conditional support for securing maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, pending stabilization of the region. This coalition represents a significant diplomatic initiative aiming to ensure the freedom of navigation and the unimpeded flow of oil and other essential commodities through the strategic corridor. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, addressing the Italian parliament, articulated her government's support for the coalition. She emphasized that Italy's position on the Iranian crisis aligns with that of other major European nations, countering critiques of Italy's purported subservience to the United States. The Italian position in the Iranian crisis was exactly the same as that of the main European countries, Meloni stated, questioning whether calls for European unity genuinely reflect a cohesive European stance or merely the perspective of the European left, which she suggested could fracture continental unity. The diplomatic landscape has also been shaped by a tentative ceasefire agreement between the United States and Iran, negotiated with the assistance of Pakistan's President Sharif and other regional actors. This ceasefire, albeit fragile, offers a glimmer of hope for de-escalating tensions. However, ongoing hostilities between Iran and Israel, particularly regarding the situation in Lebanon, cast doubt on this ceasefire's durability. The ambiguity surrounding the ceasefire's territorial scope and Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz adds layers of complexity to these negotiations. Prime Minister Meloni, in her parliamentary address, underscored the importance of maintaining freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. She highlighted the potential economic repercussions if Iran were allowed to impose additional duties on transits through the strait. It is therefore a priority for Italy and its Western European partners that freedom of navigation be fully restored to the conditions prior to February 28th, she asserted, emphasizing the criticality of stabilizing energy markets and ensuring the free flow of essential goods. Meloni's comments reflect broader European concerns about the shifting dynamics in transatlantic relations. She noted the United States' strategic pivot towards the Indo-Pacific region, driven by global competition with China. This shift, she argued, necessitates a reevaluation of Europe's strategic priorities, advocating for a balanced approach that reduces dependencies and enhances defensive capabilities. History, in short, is knocking at the door, and Europe is called upon not to fail this crucial test, she remarked, calling for European unity and pragmatism in the face of rapid global changes. The Italian Prime Minister also addressed the need for a unified Western response, emphasizing the significance of maintaining robust transatlantic ties. If these two crucial pillars do not move in the same direction, then the West is inevitably destined for paralysis, she warned, advocating for a concerted effort to strengthen NATO and build a cohesive European pillar within the alliance. Meloni's remarks underscore the importance of strategic autonomy, suggesting that Europe's defense capabilities should not rely solely on American support. In the broader context, the situation in Lebanon remains a focal point of concern, with Italy playing a significant role in supporting the Lebanese government and UNIFIL mission personnel. Meloni reiterated Italy's commitment to regional stability, urging Israel to halt military escalations and facilitate the return of displaced persons to prevent renewed migratory flows towards Europe. As the international community grapples with these complex challenges, the role of diplomatic engagement and strategic collaboration remains crucial. The evolving dynamics between the United States, NATO allies, and regional actors underscore the intricate web of geopolitical interests that define the current global landscape. In this context, the emphasis on dialogue, coalition building, and pragmatic policymaking will be essential in navigating the uncertainties of the present and shaping a stable and secure future.